Welcome to the world of Jones Knows. Today I'm installing one of the newest and toughest vinyls I've ever installed. Find out why today on Jones Knows.
It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be.
Hey. Hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tim. This is Max. And as usual, helping me in the videos are my sons Tristan and Hunter. So this is going to be the first video in my series on installing and reviewing Nucore's performance flooring. I installed this floor for the first time on one of my jobs last week, and tell you, I was surprised, and it takes a lot to surprise me. I've been doing flooring for over 20 years, and this floor really was amazing. It took a lot just to be able to cut it. It was so tough. So you're not going to want to miss any of the videos in this series. We'll cover everything from getting started to making difficult cuts. Then we'll finish it up with a product review. So without any further ado, let's head out to the job site. Go ahead and kick it. Alright, so I'm really excited. We're starting a new project today, and we're installing some of this Nucore performance flooring. It's really impressive. It has a stone core center. It's a lot more rigid than a normal Nucore. It's supposed to really protect against scratching and denting. So I'm anxious to see how it installs now, but it feels really impressive. It's a lot heavier than the regular Nucore, and it looks amazing. Let's go take a look at the job. One of the things I love about rigid core vinyl is I can install it directly over the tile without having to worry about grout joints. The color of today's job is Whistling Hills, and we're going to be installing it throughout kitchens, living rooms, and hallways. Our goal is a completely random look. The first thing my son Tristan is doing is trimming the door jambs with an oscillating saw so that the floor slides right under them. And while he's doing that, my son Hunter is removing the old base. It's important to do this before we install the new floor so we don't leave too much expansion. I'm not a big fan of quarter round. A new base really finishes the floor off nicely. It's important to have a perfectly level floor underneath the vinyl, or you're not going to like the way it feels when you walk on it. In our case here, we're missing some tiles, so we got some pre-mixed Henry's patch, and we're going to apply it. I like to use a flat trowel, as long as it's wide enough to bridge across the missing area. As you see here, the trowel does all the work by resting it on the completed tiles on both sides and dragging it across. It ensures a perfectly level finish. For wider areas, you can actually use a flooring board or a piece of straight wood or aluminum and apply it the same way. This pre-mixed patch is really easy to work with. You really can't go wrong. But for larger areas, I like to use a self-leveler, which you will have to mix. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have a perfectly flat and level surface underneath this vinyl flooring, because you will feel it when you walk on it. Once we get the floor nice and level, we're going to let it dry overnight, and then the next day it's important to scrape off any high ridges or edges where you had a little extra patch. Believe it or not, on this job here, the cabinet guy attempted to do the leveling himself, but it just wasn't up to my standard, so I patched over his patch. First thing you want to do once you have your floor swept and cleaned and perfectly flat is put your vapor barrier down. Now, Nucore does require a 6mm poly over concrete or tile subfloors, so you got to make sure you put that down before you start installing. Let's go ahead and take a look. This is our 6mm poly. Goes to the wall. Can even go up the wall a little bit if you're doing base. You can run it a couple inches behind the base, not a bad idea. And now we'll lay some boxes across it, and with the Nucore, you're going to start from left to right. So my goal with every installation is to give my floor a completely random and natural appearance. And this is achieved by putting a lot of emphasis on the starting boards of each row. No two starters should be the same anywhere throughout the floor. And you don't want to use full boards as starters, because the next time you use a full board, then you'll have two joints lined up. As you see here, I'm actually laying a board out. It's in reverse right now, so that I'm putting the cut where I want my starter to end, and then I flip it over and install it. From the layout here, you'll notice all my joints are at least 8 to 12 inches apart. So I noticed in installing the boards with this Nucore performance flooring that it's a very rigid and stiff floor, which is good as far as performance. It's not going to scratch or dent, but installing the flooring boards requires a little more finesse. So what I'd like to do when I started out here is put a spacer or a scrap piece of flooring where the joint is on the wall of the two boards, and then use a scrap board of flooring to then hit my joints together every so often. It was a little difficult, especially in starting out, to get the joints to close all the way. So by using a tapping block made of the flooring, it just gave it that little extra push that this flooring needed. Now I did this throughout the whole installation because, like I said, the flooring is very stiff, so at times it was a challenge to get the joints to close. And I can't emphasize how important it is to make sure your joints are closed properly all the way. So it's really important that you use this tapping block technique with this floor. So making the cut, and I'm not talking about American Idol here, cutting the actual boards of flooring is not easy, which is a good thing because this is a really tough floor. As you see here when we score it, you can barely break the surface. So when you go to snap it, sometimes it doesn't always snap where you want it to. It does a lot of the times, but when you're making some smaller pieces, it may not be that accurate. So we also used our chop saw to make some of our cuts. As you see here, even the chop saw, and that's a new blade on this chop saw here, really worked to cut through. And I cut wood with that saw all the time. And the laminate cutter, which is a bullet here, worked the best with this flooring. I love my bullet, and it did the heavy lifting on this job. So regardless of what option you choose, I just want everyone to be aware that this floor is not going to cut with a razor knife for all your boards, so better be prepared to have a plan B. Wow, that floor was really hard to cut. Did you see those were fresh blades on my chop saw, and it would barely even cut through it. So if you thought this video was interesting, you're going to want to check out our next video where we show you how to make some really difficult cuts. And then after that, I'm going to give away some secrets on finishing your floor to make it look its best. And if that's not enough, we're going to do a product review. And as excited as I am about this product, this review is not going to be all good, because as great as this product looks, it does have a downside. You're going to want to find out what it is. If you're new to the channel, you're going to want to check out some of our other content as well. We have lots of great videos on how to install laminate, vinyl. Plus we do product reviews. We review laminate, vinyl. We put laminate up against vinyl. We run them over. We dunk them. We do whatever it takes to find out which of these floors are best for you. If you haven't subscribed yet, I want you to take out your favorite flooring mallet, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. Hey! What? Come here. Come here. Hey, come here. Hey, you have anything that you want to put your 2 cents or your cat cents in on this? Got any great tips? Tricks? You do lots of tricks. You got lots of tricks. Yes, no? Give me 5. No. My dog will give me 5. It's not my cat.